Today I use a Emacs basically to edit my Python code. This is another example that recently made, and that is lesson 23 when I learned about Kivy from Kivy. But of course I myself already quite experienced in Python in other areas. Kivy is something new to me, but I will use my own knowledge in Emacs and Python to modify. I don't mean that the original lecture is no good. They're very good and excellent, but what I mean is that I would modify something so that I can also practice my own techniques in Python and Emacs. First of all, I would separate everything into the class, and I can jump to a class very fast. Immediately jumped here, and I would modify something, and the Kivy files I can also jump there immediately and I can modify and for the design. What it's going to do, this one is going to have a so-called file chooser. I will select the file basically from downloads, and show the flag. For the details how to do it, you can go to the Kivy site and learn from them how to make these codes. What I want to show today is that how I use Emacs to facilitate all this kind of construction of the files. For instance, in the code itself, we would use not too complicated, but still it's quite difficult to remember the format for the ID in the Kivy widget elements, because like image, you use the attribute selection, and itself is a list, so you have to get the first element. But for a label, basically it's just a text. Okay, so these are not easy to remember anyway, but what I'm going to do is to use the facilities in Emacs for, of course, a lot of people would just copy and paste and show you that. Lesson 24. Anyway, it's free. Yeah, okay, it's free. Anyway, a lot of people will use copy and paste, for other editors. You may just copy and go to there, and then that is image, that's the ID. Then I just by the image. For example, the label, the file selector. Okay, that is the ID. Then you copy this, and here, then you have to remember it is self, IDS, and so on and so on. And then you have to remember you add in selection and so on. So that's quite complicated. But for Emacs, I make a shortcut, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+I, and then go here. It basically get a selection. Okay, very handy, right? And for a label, here, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+I, and then I get it. Immediately I get it, and determine automatically for me the attributes. That's very good for a programmer, and I can just use here the information here, and then use here. Okay. How I do it? In fact, okay, I can show the code. In fact, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+I, Ctrl+C. Okay, that's my shortcut here. It's very simple. They call string at point. It is a very useful Emacs command. For example, a string of points here. Then you get already the information label. Okay. Then for the attribute, whether you use selection or text or whatever on, I can modify. This means you can do it intelligently to determine what kind of further information connected with a string at point. And then I would set call queuing. This means I can store information into the clipboard of your computer and it can use elsewhere. So string at point is very useful, and you see when I jump to here, when I jump to this class, I also use string at point. And how I do it, I can show the code. CU, it's here. Again, I use string at point. I write the string at point at the word, then I note the class name, and then do a lot of things. And red X is also very important, red expression, and I can do something, and then I have everything, and then I can find a file, go to the file, and jump to the beginning of the buffer and then search for the class name, and then I can locate the class in the whole module. Okay. So thank you for listening, and of course that not so easy to know the Emacs technique if you are not quite familiar with the Lisp code and Emacs. But I can say that after learning the Lisp, you can Lisp. Sorry, my English. LISP. This is also a very beautiful language. Besides Python of course is the best, and I think LISP is also very beautiful. And the two languages, when they merge together, can make miracle, can save a lot of our time in programming and coding. And that is what my favorite language is so far for in the computing hobby and in my work. Programming is also very important in my work. So my main job is not programmer, but it really helped a lot in my office work. Okay, thank you for listening to my sharing of techniques today, and I hope to talk to you later. Have a nice day and nice weekend. Bye bye.